Are you going places or left behind without a travel companion? Listen to how you can travel more independently. Dr. Mary Travelbest will bring you the best tips and her travel mistakes so you can benefit.
Welcome to Dr. Mary Travelbest's Independent Travel Guide. This is for women who travel, who want to travel, and especially for those who want to travel independently. In this episode, the FAQ is, where can I learn about the arts in a new city that I visit? The special episode is about Level 3 Travel Independent to a different state or nearby country. The mistake is about a terrible experience in a foreign country, about currency. And the tip is to learn some new words in a foreign language before you go. So the FAQ is a question from a woman named Dorothea. She asks, where can I find out about the arts before I visit? What is the best way to soak in the culture, especially if I don't know where to begin? Well, Dorothea, here's a few tips for learning about the arts and culture. What you can do is start by reading a lot and a little bit of planning and decide what arts or which arts most interest you. Is it music? If so, then maybe consider seeing some live music on your trip. Now, when I was in Hannibal, Missouri during the lockdown, the local town came to life on Monday nights with an orchestra playing on one side of the street and the audience on the other side of the street. I was delighted with this experience. It was just wonderful. And you would have loved it too. And it was just pure happenstance. I just happened to be there. So I didn't plan on that, but it was a great experience. Now, if you like sculpture, find out what's the best known or most interesting sculpture and go seek that out. If you prefer dance, then research where are the live dances being held. And if you want to see a film, maybe you could seek out those opportunities lately, which may be at a drive-in theater. Culture is a wonderful way to learn about a region, even if it's close to home during COVID. So now we're going to talk about the Travel Independent Spectrum, Level 3. This is a special episode, and if you've traveled independently to a different state or a nearby country, you're at Travel Independent Spectrum Level 3. For example, Canada, Hawaii, or Alaska, or some parts of Mexico and the Bahamas. The passport may be required, and possibly international visas, and you might be driving in a foreign country. Your travel has advanced to the middle spot in the Travel Independent Spectrum. Just to remind you, Level 1 was about getting started with a drive to another city. And in Level 2, you went to another region or state. So now you're at Level 3, and you are more accomplished than most travelers, even if you don't realize that yet. So to advance to Level 3, you've been seeing different parts of the USA, different regions of the country, and now you are ready to do more exploring out of your bubble of the nearby states. And you don't necessarily need a guide to show you the way. So Dr. Travelbest recommends checking with the CDC and State Department websites before traveling to these Level 3 destinations. The show notes have links for you. Now it's time to focus on the geography and the climate of these regions as you plan your trip. Timing of your travel is key to being the most comfortable and most reliable and enjoyable for you. There's also something to be said for economy, so supply and demand will be a factor, especially if you don't like being in a crowd. Level 3 is for the more advanced and adventurous traveler, so get ready for some bigger slices of fun with a little excitement. We're going to learn more about the U.S. states like Hawaii and Alaska, where you don't need a passport, but also in this category are Canada and Mexico, where you do. During COVID-19, there are restrictions on travel to these places. We'll cover them in a minute. At Level 3, you are becoming a more invested traveler. You're not going to be in a known place all the time on this journey. The journey is mostly with airline travel, and you may see extremes in temperatures. For example, the climate in Hawaii or the Bahamas is mild and balmy or tropical. The things to be looking for are hurricanes and other weather-related seasonal changes. And there is a seasonal swing, so be sure to review this before you make your final plans. And any cancellations could be up to you what you might want to do, especially if you're traveling independently. Now, for Alaska, you will experience spring in June, summer in July, and fall in August. If you travel there in another month, you'll be in winter. So consider going in July for the best weather and longest days so you can do more while it's light outside. Mexico has many areas that are very easy to navigate without a guide. Start by practicing some of your Spanish phrases so you'll be able to learn the basics. We'll offer language tips on other episodes, but don't neglect this for your trip to Mexico. You can start with a nearby city like Puerto Vallarta, Cancun, or even Cabo San Lucas to get around easily without any major concerns. If you're more comfortable with speaking Spanish, I would venture to Mexico City or Ensenada. Here's a fun fact. Ensenada has more doctors per capita than any city in the world. They're very well known for their medical tourism. Canada is perhaps easiest to navigate if you want to drive. You can cross the border in several places, even just for a few hours. I've crossed into Canada from Seattle, Detroit, and Montana. And many other people cross from Buffalo and near Boston. You could be flying into these airports for your trip, like Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver. They have nice airports. You'll also need your passport, and be sure to follow the rules posted as they may have changed. So to prepare, visit the websites for Canadian travel for U.S. passport holders. In the show notes, we'll share an app to complete before you go to the Canadian border, which can speed up the process faster. Currently, there are travel restrictions in Hawaii and Alaska, so check the show notes for links and stay up to date, including travel with pets to these places. I was in Alaska in 2019 and Hawaii in 2020, and there have been barriers to protect these regions established by their state governments. Now for today's mistake: not respecting the currency of another country. So certain people in the Kenya airport did not want to give up their money to the Kenyan police, and here's what happened to them. Now, it did not happen to me, but I want to warn others about how people feel about money in other countries, such as Kenya. So there was an American youth, let's call him Robert. He was found with Kenyan dollars, and he was trying to leave the country. Normally, the Kenyan's airport official job is to protect their currency. So Kenya actually keeps any cash that's found on outgoing airline passengers. This particular passenger, Robert, did not want to give up his cash and instead tried to burn it, but was caught and sent to prison in Kenya. Several days after being imprisoned, he appealed to the U.S. consulate to be freed. It was a terrible experience for Robert. So please convert your cash into your currency before you leave Kenya. They did take about $10 US from me in Kenyan cash, and I let them keep it. They found my cash easily. I was using it as a page marker or bookmark in the paperback novel that I was reading. I wasn't hiding it. They didn't give me a receipt. They kept it. Your experience may be different. Now for today's travel advice. Vocabulary starters are useful. So learn the basic words of that country. Bathroom, water, hotel, stop, go, thank you, please. How can you learn the words fast? There are several free language tools you can get from your internet search, and some that come with a fee too. My advice is to search with the ones that you trust based on previous reputation and cost to value. Some of the free apps may be so complicated to sign up that it's not worth your time. So check the reviews before you invest. Here's a list of some apps that I've used and others that I hope to use in the future. Google Translate, Rosetta Stone, Duolingo, LingQ, Babbel, Busuu, and others. I also suggest watching TV and movies from the country you plan to visit. I watch Spanish TV, for example, and listen to Spanish radio stations to prepare for my trips to Spain and Mexico. Today, I want to bring meaning to your travel. Thanks for listening to the world's first guide for independent travel with Dr. Travelbest. If you want to know more, just search for Dr. Travelbest and you'll find me on the web at drtravelbest.com, where you can sign up for a newsletter, social media on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, and in audio formats. So helping women travel best is my goal. Please send me your travel questions so I can help you and help others too. I'm looking for you to travel best, so go ahead, let me know what's on your travel bucket list.
What's on your travel bucket list? Tell the doctor and her team of women who travel the world seeking the very best. Dr. Travelbest, that is.